Looking good, man, looking good. Well, I'm not sure about that. Now, if you want more distance, clubhead speed and control, then you've got to get to grips with the sequence of power. Now, this is absolutely massive. The force has got to precede the motion. If there's no force first, then there's no power in the motion. So using the correct force and motion sequence completely eliminates the majority of swing faults. So why is nobody talking about this? Now, if somebody recommends that you start your downswing with your hips or your hands first, now they are both empty motions with no force to back them up. When you're building or correcting a golf swing, once you get past stance and alignment, club face alignment, grip, posture and ball position, then you've got to get your swing well directed in relation to the target. Now that's why I always recommend to hit shots with your feet together, isolating your hands and arms, which minimises the chance that you'll dance around and compensate for a swing fault with inconsistent body movements. Now, the golf swing is a rotation directed at a target, no different than throwing a ball. Now, the boss of the swing is the swing direction in relation to the target.
Just missed it.
Now, once your swing direction is in good shape, then it's time to introduce your body movements. So what does that mean? You turn your hips and your shoulders more? Don't do that. No, 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 no. That's the reason you're swinging back too much inside or outside and swinging down, looping over the top from outside to in, or getting trapped on the inside and flipping your hands over through impact. Now, the correct use of force and motion will turn and move your body in the correct sequence, creating more clubhead speed, power and control. Now, the force and motion movement is a very subtle movement, and it's difficult to see until you've seen it, and then it's hard to unsee, if you know what I mean. Now, to keep things nice and simple, when you throw a ball, your body weight goes back onto your right side first, then the ball hand follows. It's a very subtle movement. Now, as you head back to the target, your body weight transfers onto your left side first, then the ball hand follows. And that's why it looks like your hips slide and turn first, because the weight transference has done it for you. Whoa, that's a big one, isn't it? And there's me thinking you had to spin your hips in the downswing for more power. Now, this is the correct use of force and motion and how the body naturally reacts to it. Now, playing tennis is the same. The weight transfers firstly to the right, the hand, arm and racket follows. On the way back, the weight transfers to the left and the hand and arm and racket follows. Now, throwing a punch. Now, the weight transfers to the right first, then the hand and arm pull back. On the way back, the weight transfers to the left first, and then the punch follows. John, just bear with me on this one. I mean, yes, I know, I do appreciate you can throw a ball like that. And I know you can play tennis like this. And throw a punch like this. But that's not really what we're talking about here. At the elite level, the body weight starts back onto the right side, then the hand and arm motion follows. The downswing starts with the forces and weight transference moving to the left side first, then the hands and arms follow. And that is obviously a really simplistic way of looking at it, but the correct use of force followed by the motion turns and moves the body into position automatically. So if anyone tells you to start down with your hips again, then you know that's an empty motion with no force or power behind it. It's useless. Now, the golden rule in any sport that requires an explosive and dynamic movement is the force always precedes the motion. It's also the reason that we can hit bad shots from time to time, because the force and motion sequence can get out of whack, especially at high speeds. So how do you integrate the correct force and motion sequence into your golf swing? So this is how it works. And it's better to watch and learn, but only if you never break the golden rule. Force always precedes motion. In other words, weight transference comes before the hand and arm swing. Now, a really important point, or these drills will not work, is that to activate the force and motion correctly, the whole movement is body driven, meaning you do not pull, push or snatch or grab with your hands and arms, but rather relax and feel the delay as they lag behind the body movements. You've got to let go and not try and control the motion. You've got to let it flow into place, which can be a strange feeling for many golfers. I'm going to start off slow and gradually work up to something more advanced, but nothing too crazy, so don't worry. Now, all good players understand the concept, or have been taught from a very young age, that the force precedes the motion. And this is where the power is generated, and that's why even a 12-year-old can hit a long ball. This is unbelievable. Who is cutting wood? Who is cutting wood? Now, the correct force and motion sequence naturally turns and moves the body, shallows your shaft angle in the downswing, and drastically improves your delivery through impact. So when force and motion is well coordinated, you'll gain massive amounts of clubhead speed, power, and control. Yes, and I know it's going to need some practice until you start to feel the delay and can separate the force from the motion, realigning your body movements.
School run.
And that's why it's so wrong when someone tells you to turn your shoulders more or your hips more or pull down with your hands and arms or whatever. These are artificial motions in isolation with no force to back them up. They don't work. Now, gradually start to integrate this into your normal swing without removing your feet from the ground, but still being mindful of using the force and motion correctly. Now once again, the force precedes the motion. If there's no force first, then there's no power in the motion. Do you know, this force and motion business is absolutely massive. And yeah, it's going to need a bit of practice and a bit of time until you integrate the whole thing into your swing. But you know, you might just have superpowers you never knew you had.
One look, the heat is rising, and I've been cold for so long. One touch and we're igniting, setting fire.